Hello everyone, this is Pauly Sarantino. You're probably wondering why I'm hiding behind all these shitty Sega games, right? Today, the Sega 32X turns 25 years old. That means it's been 24 years and 11 months since anyone had any fucking interest to play a Sega 32X.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
It's a birthday. It's a birthday party for a special little birthday boy. Happy birthday, the Sega 32X. We're going to talk about the 32X. We're going to talk about it in full detail to keep the eye candy going, to keep your brain sizzling with anticipation. I have all the games, well, not all of them, they couldn't all fucking fit. All the games, I got the box here, I got everything. This is what the 90s were like, kids. When you wanted to buy a lot of shit, this is what a lot of shit looked like. So when people think of the 32X, they think shit. Failure, flop. They don't think of success, they don't think of fun, they don't think of any of those things. History has a tendency to evolve with half-truths. And what I mean by that is that the Sega 32X is not necessarily shitty. It's okay. It's really okay. Sega was on top of their game. The Sega Genesis was just a badass motherfucking console. More badass than the Super Nintendo. And it's true, the Super Nintendo had a bunch of fantastic games. It was a more powerful system. It was far superior, but the Genesis was just more badass. That's the only word to describe the Genesis in comparison to the Super Nintendo. It was bad fucking ass. The games were more badass, the music was way more badass, the commercials were even more badass. Everything that Sega did was just kicking Super Nintendo in the nuts. And I think it was the only time Sega ever surpassed anybody in anything. So Sega was on fire. They were just kicking dicks all the way to the finish line. And the time was coming up where the new consoles were coming out. And it was a real funny time for video games. People seem to forget the amount of fucking shitty failure of consoles that came out in the transitional period of the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo. So we got the CDI, we got the 3DO, we got the Jaguar. There's so many that just came and went. They were complete stinkers, they were complete flops. They were just not good. And people had no interest in getting them. No one wanted them. Why were they not good? Well, too goddamn expensive, not many games. The games that were out were shitty FMV games. And that's really it. Everything that made video games cool, the sound chip, sprites, graphics, the colors, everything, they all just said, fuck it. That's right, fuck that shit. We don't need that. What people really want is all that stuff to go away. Get rid of it. We want to have really shitty, horrible video of actors at an absolutely disgusting resolution. We want the really shitty actors to be talking to you, and you hit a button, and then you choose your own adventure, and you're not even really playing anything. That's what people want. So all these systems came out, and Sega had a brainstorm to capture that market that led them to be more successful than Nintendo. What better way to do that? Let's release 3 new consoles, all in the goddamn time span of 2 years. People will buy all of them, they'll buy all the games for all 3 of them, and we'll get triple the money, triple the success, we'll do 3 times as well. Honestly, that might be what they were fucking thinking, because that's kind of how things rolled out. First we had the Sega CD. The Sega CD came out, it was a hunk of shit. The games that go for a lot of money, those games go for a lot of money because they're the only Sega CD games that aren't shitty. That's right. Everything that's cheap for Sega CD, absolute dog shit. The games that go for a lot of money, They go for a lot of money because they're actually video games. So the Sega CD came out. How successful was it? How many of your friends had a Sega Genesis growing up? Think about it. All your buddies hanging out, playing some Streets of Rage, having a good old grand time. Man, there was a lot of them, right? God, a lot of people had a Sega Genesis. Now think about all your buddies that had a Sega CD. Yep, that's right. It was that one fucking kid. He had a Sega CD. He's like, hey guys, come on over. I got a Sega CD. And that's pretty much it. It seemed like add-on consoles. A console where you clip part of the console into the older console. That probably was not a good idea, right? It didn't really do that well. People didn't seem to like it. So what should we do? Hey, let's try it again. Let's make another clip-on device. Let's make another clip-on console. And then they did the Sega 32X. The Sega 32X did come out a bit after Sega CD. It came out very close to the actual next generation wave of consoles. PlayStation, Nintendo 64, and of course, the Sega Saturn. How close do you ask? Let me get the little thing up here. When did the 32X come out? Ah, that's right. November 21st, 1994. All right, guys, line up for the greatest video game console that you can get your hands on. The most powerful, epic. Experts will agree that the Sega Saturn came out a little too close on the calendar year to the 32X. How close, you ask? Ah, that's right. One day apart. Yep, come on guys, it's November 21st. Get the best system of all time, the 32X. And tomorrow, get the even better fucking system, the Sega Saturn. Honestly, what the fuck? Seriously, what in the fuck was Sega thinking? Who the fuck was working there? Who was working there? Now listen, okay, I was exaggerating a little bit. The American Sega Saturn, I believe, came out in May 1995. Still though, we're talking just a few months apart. Consumers had no idea. Consumers had no goddamn idea. They're like, hey, I got a Sega Genesis. But now all this new stuff's coming out. What should I get? Well, there's the Sega CD that came out. Do people still get that? Okay. Oh yeah, there's also that 32X that you pop in the top. That came out too. That came out yesterday. Yeah. And tomorrow, the Sega Saturn's coming out. That looks really fucking fantastic. You know what you could do? You know you can just go get one of those new Sony PlayStations that you can get. There's a lot of games on it. And it's cheaper than the Sega Saturn. You don't have to worry about all that other fucking bullshit. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. And that's why Sega fucked up. That's why they failed. That's it. So this is a birthday celebration, though. And we got all the bad stuff out of the way. So let's talk about the good stuff. The 32X actually is fun. When you can hook this fucker up, it's actually a lot of fun to play. It's fun to collect too, because there's not many games. There's like 35 games. You just gotta get them on and you have a nice tight little collection. There's shitty games on it, don't get me wrong, but the ratio of quality versus complete dog shit compared to something like the Sega CD, 32X is much, much better. Even with just the 35, I'm telling you right now. The arcade ports, we got Space Harrier, Afterburner, Virtual Racing, even we have a Virtual Fighter somewhere in there. They're all very good. They're probably the best ports that came out during the time frame of all the consoles when they were just popping them out. You know, Sega just whores out their ports. The graphics are pretty nice. There's a lot of nonsense marketing on here about all these extra colors and stuff, but overall, it looked good. I thought it looked pretty good. The 3D looks nice. Virtual Racing, I remember when that came out, I was like, wow, that looks fantastic. I mean, it had a frame rate of like 7, which, you know, wasn't that good. But it looked nice. You hit pause, it looks fantastic. The price, I remember the price being around $170. I have a good noggin, so I'm not going to even look it up. I think it's around $170, which honestly doesn't sound that bad. But it does sound bad when Sega was trying to tell you that the Sega CD was $300, the Sega Saturn's going to be $400, there's a PlayStation that's actually only $300. $170 just sounds like an extra $170 that you should not be spending. So, I mean, the price was a factor, but if they just released this with the Genesis, maybe a year earlier, I don't think the price really would have been a bad thing. Oh, sorry. I just thought of something. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's a thing. Their goddamn marketing campaign. Their marketing campaign. You don't know what I'm talking about? Take a look at this. Yo, homie, check it out, and take a look at this. All this weird sexual innuendo. The 32X goes inside of the it goes inside of the Sega Genesis. Faster. Ooh, mommy, what are they doing? Oh, Weird fucking shit. Sega, what were you thinking? Who were you marketing those ads for? I mean, seriously, adults, kids, it doesn't make sense. It's weird. Frighteningly bad ad campaign. Horrible marketing. I don't understand it. It was just strange. Anyway, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. That's right. The 32X. It's a pretty shitty system, but not as shitty as people might be telling you.
夢を育んだ空を仰ぎながらハートを包み込む街に別れを告げる幾万光年の果て時が離れていても明日の二人の夢は宇宙の闇を越える Moving the sky Shooting the shoot Dreaming the moon And you kill the living again One more Moving the sky Shooting the shoot Shooting the shoot Alright And dreaming the